Deadlock is really starting to blow up, and so now with almost 40 heroes, picking the right one for you is getting increasingly difficult. So I decided to do the early work for you. Over the past couple weeks, I've played every character from A to Z for at least 3 games to gain more of an understanding of each hero and their vibes. Over that time, I've ranked up from Alchemist to Oracle and have experienced those highs of the 1v9 MVPs and also those lows of the 2 and 14 I'm hopping in the backpacks. So I can help you find out which characters are worth your time. With over 400 games played in Deadlock and coming from those OG Call of Duty game battles days and then winning tournaments in SMITE, I feel like I have a diverse enough background in similar genres to really help guide you, whatever your gaming background may be. So why 3 games? Well, your first couple games are really just learning your buttons. I feel like for most characters, 3 games is enough to really get a feel for the characters' pros and cons, as well as those various matchups. Now, a disclaimer, to really get a thorough understanding of each character, you need much more than 3 games. But Deadlock games are long, and 3 I found was the sweet spot to really get the vibe. So to make this easy and not hours long, I've decided to map out the roster on this chart. This y-axis will be high skill ceiling characters down to low skill ceiling characters, and the x-axis will be high accessibility to low accessibility. So this will show you which heroes may be easier, a little bit more straightforward, versus the characters that really let you push and stretch and really, push Deadlock's mechanics to the absolute max. I'll give a quick debrief of each character and kind of the vibes so you kind of understand. And then we'll give you some recommendations based on games you've come from, whether that's other MOBAs, FPS, hero shooters, whatever that may be. So starting with Abrams, he's pretty straightforward. He's very easy to pick up. Like, this is one, like, within 3 games, I'm like, okay, I really understand what this character does. You're in your face, you're a bruiser, you're dashing people, you're punching them in the head, you're chasing them down. His skill ceiling isn't that high compared to the rest of the characters. There's a lot of good tech and movement you can learn and do. But just compared to the rest of the group, I don't feel like he's that high up. But he is quick and easy to learn. He's a ton of fun. He's one of the characters I felt like I really enjoyed picking up that I didn't really think I'd like. But he was a lot of fun. Next up, we have Apollo. Apollo is definitely on a higher skill ceiling. I don't think he's as high skill ceiling as other characters in the game, but he has a lot of really fun movement. Similar to Abrams, you're gonna be in close, moving around, and his counter is really cool. I would place him here. Not the easiest to pick up because he's very unique and also very... he has his own unique tech, so I'll keep him here. Bebop, I'm going to put him down here. I think he's a bit lower than Abrams. Probably about the same. Pretty easy to pick up. Pretty standard combos. You hook people, you bomb them, and you stay alive. It's very easy to pick up, very good. He's really annoying to play against, really good in lane. He's a pick character. You can win games, or all you gotta do is bomb people. It's pretty straightforward. Next is Billy, another character like Abrams that I really didn't expect to be as fun, mostly because I just despise playing against Billys. But playing him, I'm like, okay, I kind of get it. I kind of get why people play him. Another in-your-face character. He gets in your face, starts punching you in the head. He's a little bit more difficult than these other characters, or than like Abrams, but not quite as difficult as Apollo. But also his high skill skilling, like once you kind of get his movement, where he wants to come in, where he wants to leave, I'd say that's a good spot for him. Calico, I think, is one of the more complex characters. She kind of has her own unique thing with her cat, her rotations. There's special routes for her in the map. She's also she's one of the characters that's really difficult to just pick up, jump into a game, and carry on. Like Abrams, I feel like I get into a game and I could at least put up a great performance. Calico definitely took me a few games, and Yeah, I think this is a good spot for her. Her skill ceiling is so high. Um, her alt is really unique. Her combos are really cool. Um, a little difficult to hit more than most. Like compared to a Bebop combo, you're hooking and bombing and punching. Hers are hitting dashes on the right length, spinning around, throwing your bombs, all that stuff. So yeah, I think it's a good spot. All right, and here I think newer character Celeste. I'm gonna put her up here. Not quite as difficult as Apollo or Calico. I think she's a little overtuned, but as she gets a little more balanced, I think this is a good spot for her. Um, After being overtuned, I think she'll be more balanced, and which will make her difficult. But in a good way. Like she's very good. Her alt is very good. She uses a lot of the items really well, and yeah, great team fight character. And but it's just kind of getting to that team fight. I think might be a little difficult once she's more balanced. Um, the movement is pretty complex, and so that's why I think it kind of pushes her to this low accessibility. But a lot of fun. Her high skill ceiling, like with her movement and all her abilities, like I think there's a lot of good tech for her, which makes her a little bit more complicated than these other characters. Doorman, I think, is a very very unique character, one of the most unique characters in any game I've ever played. I'm gonna put him way up here. He's one of the characters that I wanted to learn at first because I just loved how his portals and doors worked, and he kind of plays like a support, but not like your typical like keep your team alive support, more of like a setup and move your team around the map support. High skilling, I think probably one of the highest. Um, the way you can use his doors and some of the tech you can do with his carts, and yeah, I mean knowing when to ult, knowing who to ult. I think his skill ceiling with his doors just pushes him to the highest. And then also like you got to know the map, you got to know where his like all the good placements. There's a lot of like specific doorman knowledge that I think warrants him up high. Drifter, we're gonna swing back over here. I think he has a bit of a higher skill ceiling, just because like you almost play him. Okay, hear me out here. You almost play him a little similar to Billy, but you need to be way more careful on the fights you're picking. Um, you really need to play Drifter like no other character, just Drifter, and um, his team fights are super weird, but that jungle is yours. Like you specific playstyle. If you like that playstyle, you like hunting down people, being super aware of the map, so you can hunt down people without getting ganged up on. I think he's there, but pretty standard to learn. I feel like he's in this higher accessibility, but if you're good with Drifter and you can really play around the enemy team, I think that pushes him a little bit higher up on the skill ceiling. Dynamo. I think if you're looking to play a support as a beginner, I think Dynamo is probably one of your best bets. He's got a pretty straightforward kit. He's cool. He's funny. You want to like Dynamo, um, and he builds a lot of things very well. He's very very easy to pick up, but he's also like pretty good. Like if you have a good Dynamo on your team, you're like, wow, this guy is going to carry us. You're not going to carry by yourself. You need to have a team around you, but you can be the reason your team wins, if it's a 50-50, yeah, so I keep him here. His skill ceiling's not the highest. I mean, you have pretty standard abilities, but yeah, I think that's a good spot for Dynamo. Graves, my favorite of the newer characters, but I gotta admit, her skill ceiling isn't as high as the other characters. Pretty straightforward. You're kind of just vomiting buttons and just trying to hit as many things as you possibly can. I think it's a little bit easier than Dynamo. I think this is a perfect little sweet spot. Abrams, there's a bit more tech and strategy to Abrams, but it's more than Bebop. Pretty straightforward, easy to get into. Don't get trapped into just throwing your gravestones on the side lanes and then just leaving. It's just not the best use of them. But yeah, I love Graves, ton of fun. Necromancer character, And yeah, I think this is a good spot for her. Okay, so Grey Talon. Another character that I really, really enjoy playing. I'm going to put him here. His skill ceiling is not bad, but he's a pretty straightforward character. You're floating up in the sky. Like, it's all positioning with him. That's where his skill ceiling is, your positioning and movement and staying safe while you can just, like, pepper damage onto the map. His ult is really good. That takes a good map awareness. It's a really good character to learn map awareness, as well as Mirage, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, pretty straightforward to learn. The difficult part is the positioning and the awareness. Haze. So similar to Dynamo, this is your carry version of Dynamo. I think Haze belongs right here. Kind of hard to see her with this background, but Haze is straightforward carry. She's got a solid ult. Her sleep dart's good. All of her abilities very straightforward, easy to use. It makes sense. Hit him with a knife, ult, kill them all. That's just how the Haze games go. You're gonna get focused a lot, so it'll teach you. Great character to learn on, but it'll teach you how to play in position as a carry. And yeah, I think this is a solid spot for Haze. Very good character. Just to note, these characters on here, they're not bad. Just because they're lower skill ceiling characters doesn't mean they're bad. They're just like, they're straightforward, the standard. You know what to expect. You can do it. Holliday, I think, is a bit more of a complex character. Definitely lower on the accessibility. I think right here's a good spot. She's not a character you can kind of pick up and just play. With her barrels, how you use them, how you throw them, the different tech you could do to launch it in different ways. It takes a long time to really master her barrels. She has a really good ult, but it can be easily wasted, easily missed. I love Holliday. I have a lot of characters on Holliday, and I have a lot of games. I love Holliday, and I have a lot of games on Holliday. It's kind of unfair. It feels like unfair because Holliday, her stuff is just almost so hard to hit. You have all these characters and this stuff just like auto hits, but Holliday, you have to hit everything, and they're hard to hit. It's not just a line. It's not just a bullet. She has bullets. They're good. But like those barrels, like you have to hit them. And her lasso, you have to hit them. And it is not as forgiving as many of the other abilities in this game. But a lot of fun, but very difficult. Infernus. I think Infernus is your step above Haze. I think he's a very good, like almost like partner hero with Haze, where if you're playing carries, if you like playing those carry characters, he's right there for you. He has good movement. His ult is great. His gun is good. His passive, like his heat is exactly what you want in a character like this. Very cool character. Pretty straightforward. His skill ceiling is higher than Haze, I think. Just because like getting a good ult, like if you're against a good Infernus, he could just win you team fights. Just with one ability. If he gets a good ult, almost like Dynamo. These are very similar in the same scale, I feel like, on the other ends of the spectrum. All right, so Ivy. So I have Ivy as, I would say, I would put up here because Ivy is a character that you can pick up pretty easily. Pretty straightforward character. But I feel like the potential is very, very high. There's a lot of cool things you could do with Ivy. You could play her support. You can play her as more of a carry character. There's a lot you could do with Ivy, and I think there's just more room to really like do different things. Like when you have an Infernus, you know what Infernus is going to do. When you have an Ivy, you have to like watch them throughout the game to figure out like, okay, how are they even playing this character? She also has a really cool tech with her iframes, with her statue. Yeah, I think she fits good up here. I like the spot for her. Kelvin, I almost think Kelvin is like, he's pretty neutral on the accessibility. Um, he like feels difficult to pick up, and then when you get him, it's like, I mean, I just think this is perfect for him, to be honest. He has a lot of potential. His abilities are very unique. When you see a good Kelvin, they make the game so annoying. They're obnoxious, but at the same time, it sometimes Kelvins just do nothing. In fact, a good half of the time, Kelvins just do nothing. Now that is obviously balancing. That might change over time, but yeah, I think Kelvin is a good support, mostly, and has a lot of room to grow. Like if you are a master at Kelvin, people are gonna be afraid. They're gonna be annoyed. Yeah, this is good. Lady Geist. I'm putting Lady Geist probably over here. Um, I would say that she's a little weirder. She's more of like your hero shooter character, like, and her ult is like funky on when to use. Um, she's definitely more of a difficult character. She just plays so different than most other characters, I feel like, in this game. Um, but she has good abilities. We like to say she has like a lot of like fake damage almost, where you're just kind of shooting out a ton of damage. It might not always be impactful, but you're always just doing damage. You're annoying, um, and it's like a little scary to 1v1 her. That's kind of why she's higher up on the skill ceiling, because her 1v1s can be very good if you know how to play against her, and you can outplay the other person pretty good if you play it right. I'm going to put Lash. This might be a little controversial, but I'm going to put Lash probably up here. Just as high as Doorman, really. I think he's pretty easy to pick up. He's pretty easy to play and just do Lash things. You know, hit a big all, slam down, boom, whip him. But when you see a good Lash player, you it's the game is just so much harder. I have seen games turn around on one Lash ult. I've won and lost games because of it, and it's just like we were winning this whole game and now we just lost because of this single Lash ult. I think a good Lash ult just almost cannot be catched. Like he's so slippery. It's yeah. I mean, I think this is a perfect spot for him. McGinnis, almost other end of the spectrum. I think McGinnis is your easiest to pick up. She's like good in lane, pretty straightforward abilities. She has turrets. You hunker down. You own your spot. You know, you own your lane. Nobody else can really beat you or contest you. Um, Pretty straightforward, honestly. I don't really have much to say about McGinnis. A lot of fun if you kind of like that playstyle, that more stationary, like hold your ground playstyle. Very good at defense. Very good at pushing lanes. And oddly, like pretty good at 1v1ing in most matchups. Yeah. Mina, I think, is a good character for almost straight in the middle of this top right quadrant here. Um, she's pretty accessible. She has like she has iframes. She has a big ult. She has good movement. Um, Her gun is good. Like her abilities are good. She has that lifesteal, but she also has a pretty high skill ceiling with those iframes, with that movement, with her ult. I think that this is a good spot for Mina. She's very much of a mage kind of character who doesn't really want to get in your face, but wants to like pepper you from the back. You know, really know to deal with in lane, all that stuff. Mirage, another one of my personal favorite characters. Hopefully he gets a little changes soon, but I want to put him here. I think he's pretty accessible enough for a character that kind of seems like he has a complex kit. But I do think his skill ceiling is up there. Again, sort of um, like other characters where you need that map awareness, because using his ult and being effective at using his ult is very important. I mean, but also his passive and his marks. I have a lot of fun playing Mirage. Kind of a gun hybrid spirit character with a cool all. You can rotate. It helps you learn to play the map really well, but don't get trapped into like bad habits because of, oh, I'm Mirage, I could farm on the other side of the map and then teleport in. Not all characters can do that, so if you're playing a lot of Mirage, you can't play the map the same as Mirage as you can other characters. But that's why I really like him, because you can do that kind of stuff. You can be annoying and be like, oh, Mirage is pushing, we have to send somebody to that side of the map, and then all of a sudden he's now in that team fight on the other side of the map, and it's a 6v5. You're outnumbered. Mo and Krill. He's probably going to go down here as far. He's probably as far low as we're going to get for any character here. Not because he's bad. He's actually pretty good. Everyone knows Mo and Krill. Everyone knows how annoying he can be. But his accessibility is right up there. If you're jumping in the game, you could pick up Mo and Krill and you could have an impact on the game. I guarantee it. His skill ceiling is pretty low, I would say. He's pretty straightforward. And there's like weird tech you can do, but like to be a good Mo and Krill, like you do what you got to do, and there's not like crazy combos really. Yeah. Paige, almost the other end of Mo and Krill. I'm gonna put her up here. She's pretty straightforward. Like her abilities like seem pretty straightforward. There's a bunch of cool things you could do, like bouncing your book off walls and stuff like that. Her ult is really cool. Her shields, like her early like first couple minutes laning phase, incredible, one of the best in the game. Yeah, I mean, I have a buddy that plays Paige, and it's just like, it is so nice when you have a good Paige on your team. It makes the game so much easier. It really does. And that's why the skill ceiling is pretty high on Paige. I feel like there's a lot of ways that you can carry. Like you can carry more than Dynamo. You can carry more than a Mo. You can carry as a true support on this character and really kind of show off, because and it's so obnoxious to play against a good Paige. It's so obnoxious. Paradox, I'm gonna put over here, kind of close to Calico, probably a little bit higher than these two, but not quite as high as the others. Paradox is a difficult character to hit her combos with. Her walls and her transfer. They're like weird to use. It felt very awkward using her. She's got her snipe, which is pretty good. She's kind of floats a little bit too, which is really cool. It honestly, for me, it felt like it was hard to have an impact playing Paradox. But I know if I play her a lot, that I would absolutely have an impact. And I had one really game on Paradox, and it felt really good. And I'm kind of like, oh, so this is it, right? Like this is what I'm trying to do here. But yeah, Paradox is a lot of fun. Harder to get into, but if you do get into her, like if you like her, you'll love her. She has a cool wall. She's very good at setting up fights. Tankier than you'd think with like her size and everything, but yeah. Pocket. Now we just put Mo and Krill down the far bottom right. We're gonna put Pocket probably as far left as any character is gonna get. Maybe we'll put a little bit over here. Pocket's a very difficult, similar. Well, let's actually move Holliday. Actually, no, we'll keep Holliday there. Pocket, very much like Holliday, whereas like if you just jump in on this character, you're gonna have a tough time. You're not gonna know what to do. Like you're gonna know what to do, but you're not gonna be doing it right. Right. I don't like necessarily saying that, but a bunch of very weird combos that once you like get, it makes a lot of sense. But like you can do things in different orders. There's a lot of items he can use very well. He has great escape. Like a good pocket is so hard to chase down, maybe more than like some of these other characters like Holliday or a Lash, or like a good pocket is very, very difficult to track down. Well, also just puking damage. The amount of damage you can do on this character is ungodly. I think Pocket might be my highest like damage character, like average damage character out of all of these. Maybe Mirage, but I mean, with Pocket, you just do so much damage, have such an impact on the map. But very difficult to learn. You have to be up close, but you also don't want to be up close. But you need to be up close to throw all your damage. A lot of fun, though. A lot of great mobility. Yeah, he's really annoying. You kind of control the pace of fights, and nobody really knows that you are because of your ult and everything. Like, it's not big slam and damage. Like, you're not a Bebop freaking shooting your hyper beam down the fight. You're not a Lash grabbing everybody and throwing them down, but you're slowly poisoning them inside your briefcase, and the whole team is taking 50% of their health, ticking slowly. So a super fun character. I would recommend Pocket. Rem, I'm going to put almost on the other end here. Maybe not quite as high on the skill ceiling, but I think very easy to get into. Very straightforward, but a very high skill ceiling. He's got his routes just like Calico. He's got those little tunnels in the map. And how you use your little buddies. You can steal farm. If you're good on rotations, if you're good at map awareness, you can really, really control the pace of the game with this character. The ult, fantastic teamfight ult. Similar to Paige, like you can just push the team fights and you can push it along however you want it to go. And well, also just hopping around, healing people. You can heal so much and really have a huge impact, and people might not even realize it. That's the annoying part with supports like this, is that your team might not realize that you carried the fight, where you just helped this Apollo just kill the whole enemy team, and he thinks he's all high and mighty and he's carrying the game, but really you kept him alive. You put everyone to sleep, like you gave him movement speed, like you did everything. If you like those sort of supports, Rem is your guy. He's a lot of fun. Yeah, just he's so much fun. One of the better newer characters from the side patch. So 7, I'm gonna put right here next to Haze. A bit easier than Haze, I would say. Pretty straightforward. Big honker of an ult. Pretty easy to get into. Not a ton of tech, but like just solid gun character. You know, if you want to play a good solid gun character who you're going to have an impact, yeah, pick up 7. Good carry. Shiv, I'm gonna put up here, kind of right in between these characters. Shiv he has a lot of good tech. Like his movement is really good. He's kind of a weird character. Like his knives, you have to make sure you're hitting those. You're using your ult effectively. He has a lot of cool things in his kit. Not necessarily the easiest character to pick up, but a good Shiv on the enemy team is going to make things difficult. He's tanky. He moves. He executes you. Like he makes you. You have to be aware of the Shiv at all points when you're playing against him. And yeah, so I think he fits well there. Silver, I'm going to put over here. This might be a little controversial as well. But I think that Silver is pretty easy to pick up. I actually just played a Silver game. It was like my 4th Silver game, and I got I got the MVP. And it's just like you're kind of just mashing buttons. It's almost a little bit like Graves, where to be honest, a lot of it you're mashing buttons and you'll have a huge impact. That being said, unlike Graves, there's a lot of things that you can do to make Silver even better and even more annoying to play against. There's a lot of good movement stuff. There's a lot of cool tech with Silver that I think pushes her way up here compared to Graves, and can really, like, yeah, if you like that bruiser style play style, like Silver is perfect for you. Sinclair, I'm gonna put over here, pretty much as far as Pocket, not quite though, but I think Sinclair, very low accessibility. His ult means you at least have to have a knowledge of every other character's ults. I think it's like a little much to say that like you need to know all these characters' ults. but like you need to at least have some that you're comfortable with. And if you're going to queue and play him in your games, you need to be ready to have an impact with that ult, no matter what characters are on the other team. That's what makes him difficult. Also, his abilities are awkward and weird. Um, his like magic missile can be difficult to hit. It's inconsistent. No matter how good you are, it's going to be inconsistent because the better you get, the better your enemies are going to get, and the better movement they're going to have to really dodge you. So I think Sinclair belongs way over here. I think people would agree with me. If not, they want him farther over here. But I just feel like these characters have a little bit more tech to them than Sinclair. But I think he's just a very hard character to get into. Venator. So Venator is... I would probably put him here. He's like pretty straightforward as a gun carry. He has a little bit more to do than like these characters, Infernus, Haze, and Seven. He has like traps and like playing around that kind of stuff. Like there's a little bit more interactivity with his kit than the others. He also, I feel like, can do a bit more because of that. So I think that's a good spot for him. Victor, I think, is going to be one of my... probably the only character that I think belongs down in this bottom left quadrant. I know you see all these characters kind of around here, which I think is a good testament to Deadlock and his characters in balance. This might be a hot take too, but I think Victor is probably here. I think he's a very weird character to play. He's slow most of the time, and you have to play him so unique. His skill ceiling is not that high. Like when people say Victor is easy, like you need to know how to play Victor. But like when you know how to play him, like once you kind of get his kit, you can kind of just... there's really not too much. You just gotta... your positioning is really all you got to do, but even your positioning, it doesn't really... your positioning is get in the middle of everything and fight. It's really about the timing of the positioning, but if you like kind of that like chaos, like lifesteal, your revive, like you're just making the fights crazy and you're making people panic. When a Victor's in your face chasing you down, like you're panicking, you're only worrying about that Victor. That's what Victor does. He's fairly fun. To me, he's a little boring because he just does the same thing. That's what you're trying to do. You're farming up, you're getting to late game, and then you're just vomiting damage everywhere. But yeah, I think he belongs down here. Vindicta, I'm going to put probably right next to Drifter. Pretty straightforward character. She's higher skill ceiling because her aim, like you need to be able to hit your shots or you're not going to do anything. Also, your trap placements are really important. Right now, she's not very good, I feel like. She doesn't really do a ton, but she's annoying to play against, and also a good Vindicta, like if you get ahead, a good Vindicta can really put a stamp on a game. But yeah, fairly easy enough to get into, and then there is more skill required than like some of these other characters. Viscous. I'm actually going to put Viscous pretty high up here. I think he's a little tougher. I think I'd probably put him here. I think he's a bit easier to get into. Some of his kit is really weird, like his ball is really weird, but you know what, I'll flip him over here. So once you kind of get what he does, it takes a while to still like get good with those things, but also like what you can do with Viscous. He's a very cool character with his punches. If you get good with his punches, you can control a team fight. His ult, if you can get good with his ult, you can really make a huge impact. He's annoying. He's hard to kill. You could play him in so many different ways, which makes him a little bit unpredictable. Yeah, I think Viscous fits really well there. He's a lot of fun to play. Very unique character, very tanky. So if you like tankier characters that are weird and that you can just get away with a lot of shit, Viscous is your guy. Viper, I'm gonna put down here. I think fairly easy to get into, but also like I don't think the skill ceiling's like that high. Um, her stuff is pretty straightforward. The only thing with her is getting she'll teach. She's a good character to learn the sliding and really how you move around the map, slithering and shooting your gun, getting those like using that infinite ammo from sliding. Um, but other than that, like she's pretty like straightforward. Her execute is annoying when you're in lane and her daggers hit you and you only have so much health. If that thing's gonna execute you, it's so annoying to play against. But I don't think she has as much to offer like skill wise as these other characters. So I think she's down here. Warden, I'm almost gonna put right here. I think you need to play Warden a little bit more consciously than Viper. I think he's more. I almost want to put him like right here. I think he is pretty easy to get into. His abilities are pretty standard. Like you just throw your potions. His ult's a little weird, but like he's pretty straightforward. Like you play him, you know what to do. He's tankier. He's a little bit more forgiving than these other carries. And you can control fights with it, but like I don't think there's a lot of skill expression on him. You play him solid, you can help your team win. But yeah, I mean that's Warden for you. All right, Wraith, we're gonna put her up here. I think out of like the main like gun carries, that's kind of what I see out of these are your main gun carries. I think she is higher, a bit higher skill expression. Her 1v1s are very, very good. Her early phase isn't as good, but once you get to that late game, like, so hard to fight into a Wraith, sorry. Yeah, I think she has a higher skill ceiling than the others, but pretty standard to get into. And then finally, Yamato, I'm going to put up here, I don't think she's as difficult as or as harder to get into as like these characters, but her skill ceiling is very high. She's a lot of fun to play. She's very weird, but like if you're against a good Yamato, like she can really just dive you, kill you, and then somehow get out, and it's so obnoxious. It's so hard to run away from her. She's one of the characters that can really chase people across the map. Like I have gone to a portal as Doorman and she hooked me before I went into the portal. And I went through the portal, closed the door, and she flung from the other side of the map to me and just killed me, and I just couldn't do anything about it. I think there's a lot of skill expression on this character. There's a lot of cool things you could do. Yeah. So that's what I have for all these characters. As you see, there's a good curve here. Of characters that are easier to jump into versus characters that kind of reward you for really mastering them. So kind of whatever you like. So yeah, coming from other game genres, sort of like we'll start with like hero shooters. So like Overwatch or Marvel Rivals or whatnot. You'll find the characters that you'll probably like is like kind of characters like Lady Geist. That's a good kind of like magey character that you'll probably like. Kelvin is a good recommendation. Viscous, on the easier end, you'll probably like the Dynamos and the Silvers, kind of characters that are a bit bruisery while you're getting close, and then also just fighting. You just want to fight over and over and over and over again. Coming from other MOBAs like Smite or League or things like that, I think some characters you'll probably like Graves. Graves is really good. Kind of plays like a magey character. Rem is also a good one. I mean, he has a bit more like agency than like Yumi in League, but similar play style. But like you have more control and more mobility around the map. And yeah, I think characters like that. Also, Sinclair. Kind of like your backline mage. For me, very similar to like the Morgan in Smite, where I mean obviously because of the ult, but also like you're just trying to like you're trying to find a person and boom, blow them up, and then you alt and change the fight. Moving over to like more FPS, if you're coming for more FPSs, whether that's like that Valorant side or Call of Duty or whatnot. I mean, pretty straightforward, but you're gonna look at your gun characters, Seven, or Haze, Infernus, Wraith, Venator. You'll probably like, even like McGinnis. I would say that pretty much nails it down. So yeah, at the end of the day, Deadlock is right now in that beautiful Wild West phase, where so many things are changing week by week, and the meta is constantly shifting. So whether you're grinding to hit those higher ranks, or you're just trying to figure out how to navigate the shop and figure out what items to buy, the best advice I can give you is don't be afraid to fail. Try things, do things. You're going to learn so much more from limit pushing than you are from playing scared. And if your teammates flame you, guess what? You're not going to see them again. At least, probably not. So just play your game, learn your stuff, and trial by fire. That is the best way to learn. That's the best way to get better here. I would recommend doing a similar challenge, going from A to Z and playing all these characters. That way you can get a good grasp of matchups, figuring out who's good against who, how people are playing against you, and also where your strengths are with each character, so you know how to play against them. No matter what character you choose, if you pick one character and play them, learning all of them is really going to help you know exactly how to play against each character. As long as when you're doing it the whole time, you're paying attention to where you're failing, where you're succeeding. Very important, especially if you're really trying to grind this game and learn. So yeah, if you want to see a lot of these characters in action, you guys can check me out on Twitch, twitch.tv/maple with 4 A's, or on TikTok, it's maple 4 A's. I'll put them on the screen. And yeah, and also I want to hear from you guys. Who looked fun to you guys? Like, who have you guys played at the beginning? Do you think that I placed them correctly? Kind of, how do you guys feel? I want to know. I think there's a lot of hot takes. This is just my opinion. So you know what? Yeah, flame me. Let's see. Let me know. I appreciate y'all. I'll see you out there.